Wait, her take this.
Done.
Huh?
Done.
Now throw it. Yeah.
You greedy bastard.
But anyway, welcome forward to the next episode. Now I'm just playing. Yeah, it's good to have you here.
Thanks
actually,
for having me, man. It's good to be here.
I know you told me that 3 things you're passionate about, so we'll get into that anyways. But one of the questions I start asking, like, actually I usually ask new people that come on the pod, not people that return. But what's the one thing that people should know about you?
I'm super chilled. And yeah, try not to take things too seriously. Yeah.
Do you know what? Do you know what I like about you? I like your like honest and authenticity. Like you wouldn't mind like saying things like that some people might be embarrassed to say, like for example, falling over or something like that. You wouldn't mind. No, seriously, you wouldn't mind making that public information.
Too regularly.
No, but I'm being serious. Like some people might be embarrassed to say it or whatever, but you're just like you're super authentic. You don't mind about. Like, I feel like you don't really care what people might say about that. But
yeah, I'm a bit of an oversharer.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
What do you think makes that? That's an interesting statement. I'm just thinking like people that overshare. What do you feel like is a common like? What makes them overshare?
I don't know. Like, for me, I just like talking. Well, when I'm comfortable with people, I like talking.
But some people like talking, but they don't overshare.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a love for oneself.
So I wouldn't say you're authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I think it is. I think the reason, well, maybe it's not oversharing. Maybe it's just being honest and authentic. Because some people can talk a lot.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily like say things that are authentic to them.
That's what the people on TikTok think we say. We posted a video on TikTok. Do you call them reels? What do you call them TikTok ones?
So just TikTok videos. Yeah. TikToks, yeah, I like that.
TikToks, yeah.
TikToks.
And we got a stupid amount of comments just we're saying a lot of things but saying nothing. He started the video with saying, this is a clip and a half, and then someone commented, this is a clip and a half, and then said fuck all. But we got absolutely bodied, and that's kind of the thing.
Someone said, oh, that makes sense, like in a sarcastic way.
There's a lot of people that think that what they say, or they've mastered the way of saying a lot and not saying nothing at all.
Do you know what I found more interesting on that clip in general? I found it more interesting that people commented on it.
What's that?
People actually took the time out to say like this doesn't say anything. Because usually, like I don't know about you, but usually if I don't like some type of content or whatever, I wouldn't waste my time trying to comment on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find it more interesting that people put effort into it while saying that I don't agree with it or it's always a time.
Because my thing is always like nothing's done without purpose. No matter how purposeless the purpose may be, it's still a purpose. Like inaction is a form of action kind of thing. So the purpose may be like feedback, like unintentional feedback kind of thing. Like somewhere like sharing their opinion. There is another maybe like a thing where there's people love to have their opinions shown. Like I have an opinion, I must say it. Otherwise,
they won't be able to sleep.
Yeah, or lack of attention to my opinion means that my opinion is valueless, so it must be shared. That I even liked all those comments. All of the comments were bad. All of them negative. I liked all of them. Here's your attention to your opinion. Hope you sleep better at night.
Yeah, I mean, what do they say? Bad publicity is good. Publicity or something.
Yeah,
any type of publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
I don't know how it goes, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but that's you kind of like the context is around that. Yeah, any publicity is good publicity. I think that's what it says.
Because it's exposure, it's exposing. Because it kind of gonna goes off the whole. Because before you came, we were watching the Kanye or Ye or everyone.
He changed his name. It's Ye now.
Watching West Side, and Piers Morgan, and one of the things I took from that is exposure and lack thereof. A lot of people talk about, but this is what the news saying, or this is what I've seen on the thing, or this is what I've seen. But my thing is like, okay, but that's your exposure. But if I was to provide you some different information, would your opinion change? Would it change? How much? Like we like our opinions are based on our own experience, our own knowledge, and to say that's a solid fact, in a way, is bullshit because your opinion and your exposure and your environment, or whatever, that's not complete. It's still incomplete. Like you have a lack of awareness and lack of exposure to everything because we don't know everything. We've never seen everything. We've never exposed to everything. So I guess that kind of goes off my whole thing of like, I don't believe in truth, I believe in opinion, and so I believe in perspective, not truth, because a perspective is exposure. That's what it is, and truth is and truth is exposure, not universal.
I think it's about the art of conversation, and I think some people already come in conversation like hostile. So I feel like even with that interview in particular, I feel like both sides are trying to get something from the conversation rather than trying to understand each other. And I feel like that makes a big difference. What got you into poetry? And you know what's funny? Like I've never asked you this before, anyways. So I'm asking you on the pod.
Well, I think I was kind of doing it my whole life without realizing. So when I was a kid, there was a competition in school. It was like a regional.
Sorry, could you keep a little bit closer, please?
It was like a regional.
You can move your chair, so on, but yeah. Yeah, but I don't need to be like leaning forward.
Just the chair.
Bring your chair a little bit forward.
Closer.
Yeah, just a bit more. Just a little bit more. Yeah.
So when I told you earlier, you didn't believe it. No, it's meant to be like that.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Sorry, continue.
So I wrote a poem about cleaning my room, and I thought it was,
that's an interesting.
I thought it was really bad. Like I didn't want to write it. I struggled, and then I got published in the book.
What?
I think I was like 8.
Yeah.
But like I didn't really think anything of it, and no one said, "Oh, you're good at this." So I just plodded along and didn't really think about poetry. And then when I got into the working world, it was a way to express myself. It started off as a lot of anger, so it was just it was.
So the poem was like, "I'm gonna fuck you up." No, I'm just.
It was like fully anti-capitalist, like. Shit. And then as I kind of got a bit older, I started writing more about kind of my experiences and family and history and stuff like that. So yeah, it started as a way, it still is a way to express, because sometimes I find it hard to articulate in general settings, and also how I'm feeling, like a lot of people. And yeah, poetry is one of the only ways that I can really do that. So yeah, during the pandemic, I had some real time to get my head down and really get into it. So yeah, now I'm here. But
yeah, I find that really interesting. Because you know what it is, I feel like I've tried to write poetry a couple of times, and it went alright, but I didn't go as far as like 4 sentences. But you know what it is? It's kind of lit. I feel like it's very creative, and it helps me. Like it helped me like. Yeah, it's just the whole like expression thing. It helped me express myself a little bit. But yeah, no, I never really got into it fully. I got inspired a couple of times when I went to a couple of shows. Just you get like people that kind of like freestyle. They do poetry freestyle sort of thing. They just come up and improvise and stuff. And,
I mean, everything is poetry. So like, even what we're doing here, like having this conversation.
What is poetry?
Can you move closer? Move a chair a bit.
Can you just turn up the?
Oh yeah, it's up and it's still not enough.
No, it's not that up. As in like
quite low.
Press number 2, and then just turn up the. Yeah.
Phantom power, yes or no?
Nah, you're not meant. If it's not on, then don't turn it on. Before something else gets written.
What's the difference between a poem and spoken word?
Well, everyone has their own opinions. People listen to me and they think, oh yeah, you're a great spoken word artist. I don't really see myself like that. I see myself as a page poet. That's kind of like underselling, because when you go onto the stage, it turns into spoken word. So it's like, it's whatever your perception is. So my poetry, it always starts on the page. Like I write for the page. I don't write for the audience.
That's interesting.
So spoken word for me, if I'm at a show or something, like I enjoy it, but for me it's a lot of the time it's a lot more literal. So it's like telling the audience like a direct story most of the time. Whereas me, if I write something that's really direct, I'll see just how I can fuck it up. And that's like the best part of the process. So if I write something that makes too much sense and is really direct, I'll either scrap it, or if there's something there, I'll just remove words,
Yeah.
letters, play things around.
Do you know what?
things.
And this one I had to ask you as well, and I think this is an interesting conversation because one of the things that I've learned recently, which is around, sometimes people are scared to say something because they're scared of like what impact it might have on, you know, whether it's job or whatever it is, like working world of relationships or whatever. So they'd rather not speak their mind. So do you ever feel like you get into moments where like you write some poems, you kind of said it a little bit anyways, but, and then you're like, I can't actually like perform this, or I can't read this out, I can't even share this. Do you feel like you have poems that you can't even share because of like people might judge you for it? Or?
No, not particularly.
No.
The only thing that would make me think twice about sharing something is who the crowd are. So if I go into like a spoken word setting and I start reading, a lot of the time people kind of, because it's not that spoken word energy, it's more very mellow, like, I don't know, like a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to unpack it. So if I think that the audience isn't right for that, I'll bring something different. But if I'm in like a poetry space where there's like published poets, and then I'll bring my stuff with confidence.
Yeah,
but with the bigger crowds that are like,
so basically if people are below average IQ, you're not
no, but this is a conversation as well, because it's like this is some people might not like this, but like what I was saying,
it's only some people, not so it's all right.
Yeah. But it's that thing of, you can't assume that people won't understand the poetry, because that's like a disrespect to the audience.
Yeah.
It's like being a poet of colour, and that assumption that you can't write as, I don't know, Ted Hughes, or not that you would want to, but there's a discussion around IQ and like whether people can pick it up and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but for me, it's more about whether the crowd are going to receive it. So, for example, I did one recently, and I brought some of my best stuff, in my opinion. And I read it, and there was a couple aunties that were like,
yeah.
And then like everyone else was kind of just there. And then someone came on and did like a spoken word set, and it was like in your face, direct. It was great, but it was really direct and spoken wordy, and like the crowd went mad.
Do you know what I think? I think it's like, I think the crowd was looking for something already on that day, and I think that's what it is. I think there's also the interesting conversation around like, I don't think there's such a thing as the crowd want to understand. I think they're gonna understand based on who they are.
Everyone interprets it differently.
Exactly.
And
so
that's
like
the thing, you don't need to understand. Like it's you're listening to words, and I read poetry in these books, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell that means. And I used to be scared of poetry before, because I was like, I'm from a working class background. No one in my family ever really encouraged me to read books or poetry. And I'm reading this thing, and I have no idea what's going on. I'll be in a room in a workshop with a bunch of poets. They're all discussing this poem, what it means, like picking it apart. And I'm like, I just think it sounds good. Like, I'm a reflector. So in the moment, I'm quiet a lot of the time, and then I'll go away. I need time to like, and then the next day or in the shower or something, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I know what that means now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was kind of scared of it before. So I went on a little tangent there.
But then when they say you know what it means, like as in you know what it means to you, or do you know what it means as in general what the group were talking about? Because I feel like there's the whole like universal, this is what it means, or like that's what people trying to portray on the meaning. But then also there's like how you understand.
Yeah,
it too.
I mean, it's how you interpret it.
Yeah.
I tried to interpret it as other people did for way too long, and it was like ruining my experience of poetry, because I was trying too hard.
Yeah.
And really, it's just, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
It's like in school. So this is another thing. In school, like, I hated poetry. When in year 11, on that day, that last day, I was super extra. I went to the garden with my friend, and we burnt the anthology. Burn it. Yeah, and I remember saying good riddance to that. But like now, I think there's been a bit of progress with it. There's some like Black British poets in there, but back then there was nothing. It was just shit, and like teachers would stand in front of the class, say, "So what does this mean?" When really you're supposed to think about how it makes you feel. And like if you said that to young people, like you'll get a lot more out of them when discussing poetry. And I think the way it's taught in schools makes people hate it. Like for me, I love poetry. Like it's my passion, and I hated it.
Do you know what's interesting? I think I'm not sure when the term spoken word kind of came out. I haven't looked into the history of it, but I feel like also the term spoken word is like more accessible for people, because obviously poetry will have a certain maybe like perception of what poetry means. You know, people imagine that if someone's a poet, they might be sitting somewhere under some tree and start writing, which also is the truth. But like poetry can happen anywhere, right? It's like someone can be on the train and start writing on the phone, and so it's like. But I think when people go spoken word, it's like it sounds a bit more like anyone can do that kind of thing.
Well, spoken word actually started. I mean, I'm not. I don't know all the details, but I know spoken word started as a way of, like not preaching, but like activism, like people speaking up in the streets, and like they'll come out and they'll do like a big kind of piece on whatever's like going on at the time, and bringing people together and mobilizing. I think that's how it was used a lot. And that's how it kind of started.
That makes sense.
So it's you can still see that.
So it's technically a speech, really. Like you know, earlier you said basically life is poetry. What did you mean by that?
Everything is poetry.
In what sense?
I just think like every moment is. I've been thinking a lot about memories lately, and every moment is a memory. And for me, memory is poetry. That's what I write from. Like, I write from memory. So for me, I guess that's my interpretation of it. Like,
no, that makes perfect sense, because like, so as we experience life, this is the way I understand it, and correct me if like you get it the same way. So obviously we live life, we experience life, and then we collect memories. So technically life is poetry, because if you write from memories and from your experiences, then that's what it becomes.
And also, if you look at it from a technical, when I'm writing, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't. Every time.
So you don't write with the outcome. You just go with the flow.
Every time I try and write with an outcome, it doesn't work. You just have to go and not know where it's going. It could be that you saw a kid on the bus doing some mad shit, and like you decide, okay, or hear a bit of a conversation start and just go. And that's how it happens, and that's what life is. We don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay, so based on that, because I'm curious about this. So from my experience, I used to not necessarily write poetry, but I used to write some spoken word type stuff. And when I did it, it was never a thing. It was never planned. It was never like, oh yeah, tonight I'm gonna go write and a bunch of shit and whatever. It was never like that. It was always, I can't sleep. Oh, here's a cool quote I just thought of. Let me put this on a piece of on my notes and go on a tangent. So when there was times where I wanted to actually, tonight I want to write something because I haven't written it in a long time, that's when the writer's block comes in. So my question is now, how do you deal with that writer's block stuff?
Sometimes you just take the L and just say, okay, today's not the day.
Or you just don't do Muay Thai.
Yeah, just do some Muay Thai instead.
That helps. I heard that's a way like you do something else.
Yeah, I mean, you just got. I'm having a bit of a block at the moment, so
it's appropriate for him to ask.
But it comes and goes, though, right?
Yeah, it comes and goes. There's several factors, but with that, I'd say just do things that chill you out. Like for me, it's the tea.
Yeah.
Like I've got this tea called Focus.
Doesn't the tea itself, the beverage is named Focus?
Well, it's loose leaf tea that is, Focus. So the Chinese tea, they have so many different types.
Okay.
So this one is like a herbal one, and it's supposed to help you focus. So it's like having a ritual that you can associate with that creativity, but lately I haven't been quite hitting that. a lot of my stuff, sometimes if I try, it's like what you said, if you sit down and say I'm writing poetry today, it needs to be organic. It needs to be in the moment.
You have to feel it, right?
For me, yeah.
That's a difficult one because I've started doing this thing in life where, like, regardless of how I feel on the day, like, I do what I need to do. And I realize there's always like a little bit of resistance because I'm like, sometimes I don't feel like doing certain things.
Yeah.
But then I can still, but the thing is I can still do them while I'm not feeling it. So I'm not talking about poetry. That might be very different. But like, I've realized that I can still, like, I realize if I always go with my feelings, I'm not saying this applies to you either, by the way, but I realize if I always go with my feelings, like, sometimes I don't get shit done because based on how I feel, on one day I feel like I'm doing it, next day I don't feel like I want to do it.
I think the worry should come from the consistency of you not wanting to do the thing. So if I'll use the example, if I'm editing a project and every time I sit down to edit that project, I'm like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this. And it's every time I do it, that's where you need to start. Because like I remember you said one thing. You said your procrastination is speaking to you. Listen to it. I'm paraphrasing, but I made it sound cooler. But your procrastination is speaking. Your procrastination is speaking to you. So listen to it. If I procrastinate something regularly, then that's trying to say something. Oh, by the way, this ain't for you. This isn't.
So it's a warning sign.
It's like a warning sign kind of thing. Yeah. So like powering through, I understand its value. But if I'm constantly powering through the thing I want to do, want with quotation marks, because if I'm powering through, I don't want it. Then that's when we start thinking, okay, maybe this isn't something I want to do. Not to say that poetry isn't your thing,
No, it's true.
But
like,
that's something I realized.
It's weird that you brought that up, actually, because I was thinking about it earlier. Like, there's those moments of self-doubt when it's like, why can't I just get into my rhythm? Like, it's hard. And some people can just sit down and write poetry all day, but yeah, it depends where I'm at, like mentally.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's and because it's so personal, like, I need things to be happening for me to be able to channel that. So like when I got back from Lisbon, I was on one. I was like, and I ran out of steam. I was like just going to, I don't know, I just ran out of steam because I went back to work and I was, back to the 9 to 5 and that. But
to me it sounds like there's something around routine as well. And that's what the one thing I've noticed, and I used to always say, like, holidays always a good, like, sort of like thinking disruptor because you put yourself in a different environment, like the mind starts working differently. But then when we go back to a regular routine, and it's like certain things start overriding that kind of the mindset. So it's I think there's something around recognizing that and just putting yourself in different situations.
I call it the body's response and my response. The body's response and my response. I don't know if I think I spoke to you about this once before. I have this thing where I say, let's say for example, I'm outside and it's cold, and I'm wearing just a t-shirt. My body's response is to start shivering, getting goosebumps, hair standing up because it's cold. My response is the mindset. I'm fine.
So when it was 40 degrees, I said, Aladdin, I can't do this. He's like, what? Well, it's not, just think it's not, like, you're fine. I said, but my body is doing things that is like telling me, like, it's too hot.
But I think it goes to the whole, go back to the whole traveling to reset thing. When you go to another environment, you can say that, well, this is like a way of thinking about it, I guess. If I'm in a different environment, my body does not know how to respond, so it's open to all options, which is where it's easier to start doing whatever you start doing. But then when you go back to the environment that you're familiar with, your body associates that familiar environment with doing certain things, so it makes you prepared for those things, and that's what makes it harder for you to go back to that thing they wanted to do rather than the thing that you're familiar with. So that's the idea of splitting the body's response to your individual response. The body is like a subconscious in a way. Like the subconscious things, it does things without your permission. It does things. It would make your hair start standing up, or when you're hungry, your stomach starts growling. Or
you're always breathing in the background.
There we go. So that's like the background thing. That's like the subconscious doing its job, whatever. And that's the body's response. That's the organs and the physical's response. But now let's separate it and utilize our mind's response, our conscious response. If I'm cold, my body is cold, but I know that I'm going to be outside for 30 minutes and I'll go back inside, I'll be hot. So all I have to do is say, no, I'm fine. Just for 30 minutes. It's even like that whole thing of Naeem told me this sounded really fascinating. He said car sickness. You said we're familiar. I have some every now and again. I've been over a year now. No single car sickness day. So You should be proud of me for that one. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm proud of you, man.
for not being recoloring your dashboard.
Yeah, I'm so proud of you, bro.
So Naeem told me something.
I'm just playing.
Naeem told me something really fascinating. He said that sometimes car sickness comes from our subconscious or our brains not knowing what's happening. So let's say, for example, I'm in a car, I'm on my phone, I'm looking down, but my peripheral things are going past. Your body doesn't know what's happening. It's like the body's stationary, but it's still moving. It's like, what the fuck is happening? And then that's why you get sick. So I started looking at it thinking, cool. So that's just a lack of communication between the subconscious and the conscious. Because consciously, I know I'm in a car and I'm going to a destination. I already know what's happening. But my subconscious doesn't know what's going on. Which is why you start getting sick and you start getting, getting stomach aches, whatever. So I see it as like a lack of communication between my subconscious mind and my conscious mind. Potentially. Or I'm trying shit. That's how I see everything, man. Or I'm trying shit. That's like, I want to end every sentence like that. Because we never know.
What do you think?
No, that's interesting. I mean, the subconscious, the conscious. With poetry, I mean, use your subconscious, things that you didn't even know were there. So if I sit down and say I'm going to do poetry, but that's not cooperating, they're not working together. There's a disconnect. But yeah.
You know, when you do poetry, does it rhyme? Like, no. Is it meant to rhyme?
No. You don't have to.
I think there's difference between rhyme and rhythm, right?
Yeah.
That things rhyming and having rhythm are two completely different things.
So like, does it have rhythm?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm learning. Like this is like I'm more new to the poetry. Like I said, I tried writing some stuff, but it
doesn't have to rhyme.
Yeah, I think that was my problem. I think I was assuming that things have to rhyme even after like 3-4 lines, and
for me, it just
I was doing rap lyrics and stuff.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to rhyme. Obviously, that's something that a lot of people think, but nah. As long as it's got some flow, man.
Some flow. But do you know what's interesting? Like you said, one of the things you're most passionate about is new experiences. And it's funny you say that because it goes hand in hand with poetry. Because you were saying when you get new experience, like you feel fired up.
Yeah, I mean.
So now you know the key. It's just new experiences.
So I just need to be moving around all the time. That's it.
Yeah. Are you right-handed?
Yeah.
So then you can brush your teeth with your left hand and be like, and start to write about it. New experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like every time I do something that makes me feel like, well, it's like that thing of getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what makes me write.
Yeah. Would you class yourself as a deep thinker? Yeah. 100%. What makes someone a deep thinker? You know what? I've actually wanted to ask this question for a while. Like, what makes someone a deep thinker? I want to ask you as well, but do it after.
Deep thinker. I mean, I don't know. What do you mean by deep? It depends what you mean by deep.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But it's a term, and it's a term people use. Like they go like, I'm a deep thinker.
I'd say I'm an overthinker. I'm always thinking. Like my brain.
So you're a thinker.
That's fascinating. Don't finish because
in terms of deep, I mean, sometimes I think about something too much, then I get really deep. I'm like, no, that's too much.
But then that's the thing. So like, is deep thinking overthinking? Like, are they just like made up labels? Is it just thinking? Like at the end of the day,
yeah, it's thinking.
Because ultimately what we do is just think, right? It's just the deep thinking, overthinking, like that's just labels attached. But like, we're just thinkers.
We're all just thinking.
We're making poetry right now.
Yeah.
I don't think.
You don't think?
Yeah.
Shit.
I don't believe. I don't think overthinking and deep thinking are two separate things. They're both one thing to me. My version of a deep thinking is, I would say, allowing the existence of other things, other mindsets, other beings, of existences, allowing it to exist in your exist. Not necessarily have to believe in it, but allowing it to exist. So my version of deep thinking is thinking like I told you this earlier today. When someone presents an argument, my go-to is always to think of every potential or possible perspective on that specific argument, so I can allow it to exist in my mind, and then I get to choose which one I want to side with. But I can't choose a side without exposing myself to every single one that I am aware of. Like, I can't think of every perspective, but I can allow myself to be exposed to every as many as I can. So my version of deep thinking, let's say shower thoughts, for example, when I'm in the shower, so I'm thinking about deep stuff, and I start thinking about like I'll think of like a problem or situation or whatever, and I start thinking about every single potential mindset or perspective on that situation. Or how can this person look at it? How can this person look at it? How can this work?
Yeah, I think you're a deep thinker.
Yeah, I think deep. But that's my version. My version exposure to alternate mindsets, and my attempt is now as many mindsets as possible.
Do you feel like you're in control of your thinking?
Oh,
yeah.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Like, can you turn it off and turn it on at any point? You can't.
I can do. I think it's more so. I think it's another subconscious to conscious thing. I can. It would naturally begin, and then I'll then take over and start steering the car and go wherever I want.
But you notice it like real quick when it starts. I've
noticed it quicker. And if it's a thing where I still want to do it, I'll just go do something else. I'll go play PS4 or I'll go watch a video. Whatever. I'll do things. There are things to do to distract and to allow it not to exist. But yeah. I think control is never 100%. It's just a percentage ratio. And do you have majority of the control or the minority of the control? Is it 90-10 or is it 60-40?
Yeah, for me, it really depends what mood I'm in. Like, that's it. That's relates to my whole life. Like, I'm always...
So you're fully like based on feelings, like whatever you feel like, that's it.
Like, some days I could have a negative thought and I'll be able to just go. But some days I'll be like playing over. Like, why is that like that? Why did I do that?
Stuck.
Yeah, like how could I have done that different? What would have happened if I'd done it this way? I'm a bit better with it now, but I think a lot of it comes down to anxiety and like and just overthinking little things like day-to-day stuff. But yeah, like I said, I think since I started doing like Muay Thai, it's really helped with that. So it's not really much of a issue. But most of the time when I'm trying to sleep, that's when it all starts going off. I think it's the same for a lot of people. Like when you're trying to be quiet, your thoughts are like doing.
That's why.
Because I think we come from a whole day of noise, like, and it's very difficult to turn it off. I started doing this thing where like some people call it meditate. But I just sit in silence in the morning for like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on the day and how much time I've got. But I find it really interesting because I started noticing my brain, like I would catch my brain like thinking about certain things and
during the meditation time. Yeah,
I'd see where it's going to, like kind of thing. I basically, my whole point of it is not to shut my mind off. My point of sitting in silence so that in the morning is about like noticing how my mind works and what it thinks about and what it functions. How it functions, and I find it really interesting. I've been doing it for a little while now, and it's like, and I think what it helps me is how it helps me as well during the day. It's like I can then turn it off when I feel like it, because I started kind of like going like I'm in charge. Like it's not my mind that's in charge. I'm in charge.
Yeah, and I think our generation, we don't have that quiet time. Like we're so overstimulated.
But it was hard at first because I think number one, like we live in London, and I think London in general is like, it's a noisy. I don't mean like literally, I'm not talking about the literal noise. I mean noise as in like there's a lot going on. You know, people have a lot of relationships. There's loads of shit happening all the time, work and people are out, whatever. So there's a lot of noise on a regular basis. So, and I feel like because we're so used to like having a noisy day and whatever, it's hard to kind of then be used to silence for a bit. It's like shit. It feels a bit weird. It's almost like the brain becomes an addict to noise. So what's the next thing that's happening? What's going on then and what's happening then? It's like it's hard to slow down. When we're used to it. Yeah, I find it interesting. What do you feel like the world is missing at the moment?
Love.
Do you want to expand on it? Or
Yeah, I mean, love. I mean, there's so much hate. And I mean, from my experience, just going about my day to day, like, I mean, it might be related to the fact that I live in London. So I don't know if I'm talking about the world here, but
Well, it's your world anyways,
Yeah,
for
my
starters.
world, like,
Yeah.
You know, just walking down the street is exhausting
Mm.
because the energy, it's all about energy. I mean, okay, love, like, energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need more energy, man.
I like that.
Because that's why I love new experiences and traveling and experiencing new places and new people and doing things alone, because you can really pay attention to that. When you're with people all the time, it's hard to really like notice your surroundings. And yeah, I think, like I said, day to day, getting on the tube, you see so many people, but I can be out all day and never meet someone that put a smile on my face. Or and yeah, I'm probably the same. I'm probably not the most friendly looking person out and about on the street, but you know, it's the same, like that human connection. And like,
But I think there's a difference of like someone being reserved at particular times and then someone having an energy of like, don't talk to me. I think those are two different things, and I feel like people can usually tell the difference between the two.
but yeah, just that interaction, man. Like, I came back from my trip, and I come out Leytonstone Station. I see this lady, and she's holding all this cash, and she's like, "Can you help me?" And I was like, "Sure." You want me to help you? Sure. And then it was weird because like ever since leaving the airport on the other side, people just kept talking to me, like. And people don't talk to me, like rarely speak to me like on the street, and I rarely speak to people because I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm a lot of an introvert. But anyway, so I'm like, maybe I just got some good energy, like attracting people and conversation, and it was like good conversation. It wasn't like, oh, leave me alone. Anyway, so I come out the station and this lady was there, and she goes, I need your help. So I just got back from Lisbon, literally just off the plane. A woman just moved to Leyton from Lisbon.
Oh my God.
And she's there trying to get a travel card for a month, but she wanted to pay like half cash, half card, but they wouldn't let her do it on the machine.
Yeah.
I was trying to help her, and she didn't speak any English. And she's like, oh, I'm from Lisbon. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you actually joking me? Like, it was just weird. Like, and then she said to me, first thing she said to me, are you Portuguese? And she said, I need your help. And it was like, am I bringing that energy back with me? And it's attracting, like, it was just a weird, like, I don't know about a coincidence, but it was just a weird encounter.
Yeah.
And it, like, something like that, even though in the end I couldn't help, like, I wasn't able to do what she needed help with. I just felt so happy. I was like, she wanted my help.
How long did it last for? Like,
she approached me and she wanted my help. The interaction.
No, just the interaction. Yeah.
No, it was just that
day. It lasted for a day.
But I was so happy. Even when I got home, my housemate was like, "Kayla, you look really happy." Like, I was like, "Yeah, I am."
I think that's I think just the energy thing in general. Like, I feel like, and I was saying that I want to have more conversations around energy and what it means to people, because I feel like it's a thing. But it's not a thing that we can necessarily articulate. Maybe I think it's very difficult to kind of like to say this is what energy is. And you know, a lot of people talk about energy sometimes in a like
energy.
No, but they talk about it in this like crazy way. There's this energy that kind of like sort of way.
But to be it's strange. I said this to my friend, and she was like, "You're mad." So sometimes I sit next to people. It could be a stranger on the train. And I just get this mad energy from them. I was sitting on the tube. This was like, I don't know, earlier this year. And this girl was next to me. She was reading a book. And I was reading my book too. And she was like, there was something, I could just feel it on her. Like, I don't know. But I could just feel her energy. And I wanted to talk to her. But like I said, I don't really talk to strangers as much as maybe I would like to. So I'm just thinking, this girl's amazing. I haven't even spoken to her. I can feel her energy. My friend was like, no, you're mad. Like, I've never felt that. And when I meet certain people, I feel their energy, and that's what's going to make me, you know. Like, when I met you, you've got good energy. Like,
thank you.
You've got very good energy. And that's how kind of I build relationships with people based on that.
Do you know what? Sometimes I wonder as well. It's like I go with that thing of like we only recognize, you know, something that we've got. It can be at different times, but I feel like sometimes I feel like because you got good energy and you know what that means as well, you can actually maybe see it with other people. Maybe that's why when you sat next to her, like that's why you kind of felt like she had. Have
you ever felt that?
I kind of do, but I don't. How can I explain this? It's not like it's not something I consciously think about. But like, for example, like if I'm in a room with certain people, I'm like, I don't want to be there. Like I can feel the energy that I don't want to be there. Yeah. Or like when I'm in a room with other people, like I can feel the energy that I want to be there. And I'm quite vocal about like being in spaces that I don't want to be in, or like I would leave the spaces or whatever.
Yeah. And it's also about bad energy. So 2 days after my encounter with the lovely Portuguese woman, I was in the shop and I was just going about my business, getting my groceries. It's a lovely Monday. And this guy just walked into the shop and my heart sunk. Like that's, if someone bad is next to me or got bad energy, I feel in my gut, like instantly. So that's kind of how I navigate life.
Yeah.
If I feel it in my gut, it's like trusting strangers. When you do things on your own, you have to put a certain amount of trust in strangers.
Yeah.
Otherwise you won't experience things. People always ask me, oh, why did you do that crazy thing and get in that guy's car in a weird country? Because I felt his energy. And yeah, it's not always going to be, it might not work all the time, but if I have that feeling, that's like, okay, they seem okay. But that badness, instant. Like they could be on the other side of the road and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe like, not maybe, I feel like some people are probably more like receptive than others anyways, in terms of energy.
Yeah.
You know,
so in terms of energy, good and bad, from your understanding, we control our own individual energies, right? So, yeah, or no?
I don't know.
Because like let's say, for example, you walk into this room and you don't know me, I don't know you, and you get a bad energy from me, but Leo gets a good energy from me.
Yeah.
What's that one then? So is it?
I mean, it's just who you are, isn't it?
So is it?
I was gonna say I don't think that's usually how it works though.
Is it the relationship then?
But what I'm saying at least from my experience so far, it's like when one person's kind of like giving out bad vibes, or that's another term for it, vibrations, vibes. But you know, it's funny that actually vibes mean vibrations, but people will say vibes, but no one wants to say vibrations because vibrations sound crazy, but vibes sound cool. Anyway, so but going back to the point, it's like when one person's giving out bad vibes, it's like everyone's gonna notice it in the same room. Like everyone's gonna know. I think
everyone that disagrees with it. I think it's a thing of compatibility. If you're familiar with my way of being and my way of talking and my way of existing, there's a lot of swear words. There's a lot of passionate movements and
passionate movements.
Yeah,
whoa, what's that?
Like hand gestures. when I describe stories, anyway,
passionate movements.
It's mad that I have passionate movements when I talk, but I'm behind the camera, so you don't see any of it. It's cool.
What did it look like?
Just a lot of movements, just like movement like with fashions, hand gestures, and walking up and down, and being big when I tell stories, and being small when I'm saying. Anyway,
so you're expressive,
yeah. Or passionate. Who cares, man? Yeah. Words. Anyway. You're familiar with that, me being that kind of being, but now here comes give me a name, John. Here comes Phyllis. Here comes Phyllis, who is familiar with a different type of passion, a different type of being, who has their own interpretation and their own way of showing passion, and they see my type and say, you know, I don't like him, he has bad vibrations, he has bad energy, but I'm amongst you two and you two see it as good energy. So it's like, how much do I control it? And I control it to work with the people I'm interacting with, or do I control it to work with me? And if you work, you work. If you don't work, you don't work. I don't know if I asked that question properly, but yeah.
No, go on.
I don't know, I got a bit lost towards the end.
Basically what you're saying is like, you know, one person might have, let's say, he's assuming, by the way, that to me that's an assumption, by the way, that one person's got good energy, and in the room there's another 3 people, and 2 people interpret it as good energy, but third person says like, nah, the person's got bad energy, or they didn't connect to it. So I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're trying to say it's like also how people receive someone's energy is up to them as well.
Yeah.
But I feel like like I said, I'm going to go back to the point of like, from my experience, if someone actually has got bad energy, the whole room will feel like the person's got bad energy. If the person's got good energy, the whole room will feel like the person's got good energy. I don't usually see people interpret it differently. However, do people interpret people's like body language or something else differently? So it might not be the energy thing, it might be what it's saying. So you might have good energy, the 3 people in the room feel like you got good energy, but one person might say, oh, you're a prick because you maybe done some kind of gesture or something or whatever.
Maybe.
But that's my personal experience anyway, so everyone's different.
Yeah, everyone's wired differently, so it's like how you might look at someone's friendship and think, oh, how did that happen? Like, I don't like him, but I like him. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm friends with him, but I don't like his friend.
Yeah. Like, sometimes, listen, I know people sometimes that, like, they're the most amazing people, but I feel like people that don't necessarily know them for who they are, they have maybe spent enough time with them, they'd be like, oh, the person's this or the person's that.
Maybe that's a lack of exposure.
Yeah, I think
my judgment on you is based on what I've been exposed to. But Kayla's exposure to me and your exposure to me are two completely different things, which is fascinating because I'd say you two see me very similar, despite your different exposures. That makes sense.
I think exposure's got something to do with it, because I think exposure will allow people to maybe develop the most accurate lens over time. Because if the lens is not accurate and they're looking for a certain lens of the person, it's like, then they're maybe not understanding who the person really is. Yeah.
Had an interesting experience this week. So I had a client on, what day was it? The day I met Chucky. It was a Tuesday. And essentially what happened was he was doing public stuff. He likes doing public questions, questioning people in public and stuff like that. And one of the things he did was public lift trivia, which is he goes to a public lift in any station or wherever, and he waits for people to come in, and he says, okay guys, welcome to...
I've seen that guy's videos.
Yeah, AviTV, yeah.
So
welcome to public lift trivia, win cash prizes for correct answers. And you'll ask a question. Question number 1, you answer the question, and he's got like a time frame between the lift closing and opening up again to get all this stuff in there. Question number 1, what's the easiest way to financial freedom? A, this, or B, this. And he waits. Sometimes people see nothing. It's a complete silence. Until he said, okay, thank you for, have a great day, guys. Bye. Some people start interacting. One of them was fucking amazing. I got it on camera. He started talking. He started, okay, guys, welcome to da-da-da. And there's a lady right next to him. She was listening to music on her headphones. And I literally saw her take off her headphones. Like, oh, this is cool. Take off her headphones. And he said, oh, I want to get involved in this. And then she answered the question. She won £5. And then there's other people that like completely ignored his existence, or was completely eradicated from their mind. So I find it fascinating, the two completely different mindsets of the thing is the same. He's doing the same thing repetitively. We did at least like 10 lifts or something like that, at least.
Is this on the underground?
Yeah. Different
yeah,
stations.
I mean, he's lucky he got anyone to talk to him.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, was what my thing's like, what I respect a lot about him is his repetitiveness, his grind, his need to keep going, because it wasn't all, like, I'm telling you, we had more silences than answers. We had quite a few answers, but more silences. And there was a stretch where we had like 3 or 4 silences in a row. And I'm thinking, okay, how can we make this better? He said, no, I'm going to keep doing it until people answer.
Did they just not even respond to him?
I got there on video. No response, no nothing. He's just like looking at everyone, trying to get eye contact, nothing. And then other ones where people are getting involved. One person dissed him, which was kind of funny. One person threatened him, which was also kind of funny. Yeah, I got your attention. Got for disses, threats, all sorts. And then we got interactions and laughs and giggles. And like he did this thing where the prizes were like sometimes were £5 or sometimes were 10p. I said, your prize is 10p, and people start laughing and shit. It was really fascinating, and I kind of took an experience from that of like conversation and a relationship with people that we don't know, and creating it and being open, and like kind of like having that thing where the resilience allows amazing relationships and the communication with strangers and the connection with strangers. It was a fascinating experience, and yeah, it was fascinating.
I think it tells more about who the people are, like on the lift. And John was going to ask you, like, what's like the What do you lot think is the most unhappiest or miserable place in London?
My house.
Oh man, that's a big question. I don't want to be. I'm in a spot. I've been in a spot for the last couple of years. But I hate London.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I love London so much.
I don't know how to answer that question. I don't hate London. Okay, that's a bit strong. I can think of other places I'd rather be. But would you say the most unhappy?
What is the most miserable place in London?
Miserable place in London. I would say the tube, but at least on the tube, you know you're going to get somewhere afterwards. So there's some joy in it.
Yeah, Central Line. Any Central Line train, not even the stations, the trains individually. It's a terrible train.
Probably
it's a terrible train.
Yeah, a packed Central.
But like a packed What's worse, a packed Jubilee?
Jubilee's alright.
You reckon a packed Jubilee?
Yeah, but...
Well, from Kensington to Stratford. You think that's worse than the Marble Arch to...
Central Line?
You think that's worse than... You think
Worse.
You think Central? Yeah, Central's worse. Central's loud.
Line.
I ain't experienced that one.
I've never been on a packed one.
I don't. Bakerloo have some really nice seats. They have really nice chairs, Bakerloo.
I don't know what I don't know what train line's got really nice seats.
No, huh?
They're soft.
Yeah, and they're big.
Yeah, they're soft and big.
Yeah, Bakerloo. You think like a brown line would look like shit. It would be shit. But
a brown line that looks like shit.
Yeah, I mean,
have you ever hit the seat before?
Sorry.
Have you ever tapped the seat like to see what comes out? Just any line.
Next time you go on a train or bus,
just hit it once. Yeah, you see how much dust comes out.
Yeah, it's big.
Just see how much dust comes out.
They're designed to absorb what is there as deep as possible so that it's not visible. That's the design of
Do you know what I was gonna say? I don't know if I'm gonna say I agree with you if you're gonna stick to the same answer, but I think it is the tube. I think the most miserable place is the tube, and I was thinking, why is that? Because people actually, on a regular day-to-day basis, they take the tube to do things they don't want to do.
Yeah.
And the tube is the only place.
I'm not saying all the people on the tube are miserable, but I feel like it's the most miserable place. Like every time I go there, I'm talking about energy and vibes. That's where I get the vibes of like, don't talk to me, don't look at me.
It's that thing of like not knowing where to look on the tube, and like if you do look at someone, what's gonna happen? And
people not physically fight for seats. It's like you'll see people racing towards who's gonna sit down first. Like there's always like a little bit of tension. It's like someone might say the wrong thing to someone might actually. I find tubes really miserable. So sometimes I want to do this thing. I can't actually do it, but I wish I had like some kind of like glasses where I can put them on, and then above the head like see like some kind of text saying I'm miserable because of this is happening in my life. And especially like the people that sit next to the window as well, like like the Allah, for example, and it's outdoors and people look out the window. I'd love to just kind of see like what they're thinking about.
Avi did that on the tube on the Central Line. Actually, he did that on the Central Line, the whole public trivia thing, and he ended up having a conversation for about 10-15 minutes with a complete stranger. Yeah, and I recorded the whole thing. It was fucking fascinating.
Yeah, out of how many people?
No, he did it once. Oh yeah, it was a packed train. Yeah. But he still did it, and he had a conversation with a person. Yeah, and I think that goes to show the ratio of the type of people that live in the city. It's like out of 50 people, one would be open-minded. And then now times that by the population of London is like this is
maybe sometimes it's not that they're not open minded. It's just they're not in a place that they want to be in at that time to even have those conversations.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we can all unanimously agree that tube is a terrible place.
I just have to have a book, because if I don't have the book, I have to stare at the miserable people, and I am one of them. I'm part of the problem.
But seriously, you feel miserable in the train?
Yeah, man.
Seriously?
DLR, I like the DLR because it's like weird. The DLR gives me like weird vibes. Like, because there's no driver. It's kind of like out of... Well, they don't drive it physically, yeah. I don't know. DLR is nice because, I say nice, but
because it's outside. That's
and
why.
You see like the city, and it's like it's quite beautiful.
It kind of feels a bit more outdoorsy kind of thing.
Like when you're coming home and the sun's setting and that, it's nice, and it's a bit more spacious. I feel like people aren't as miserable in the DLR. But maybe that's just my perception.
Do you know what? I stopped giving a shit, you know. Like like I just like see if I'm on a DLR train, I don't care no more.
About what?
I just don't care. Just like I don't need to be like, I don't really care like who's on there.
I like watching everyone come and go. Every time someone gets on, I'm seeing who it is.
Yeah. So you're like people watching.
Yeah, if I sometimes if you're only on for a few stops, you can't really get into the book, or maybe the book. I can't read poetry on the train. I can, but there's not much point because it just doesn't really register. So I'll have the book as like a safety thing, and then I'll just be looking at everyone thinking, wonder where she's going. Like there was this girl on my train last night. I was looking at her, it's like, she looks like she's made an effort. And then she had a handbag, but it was like a big one. And it was like full to the brim. I was like, she's definitely seeing someone tonight. And then someone texted her and she starts
like smiling.
I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing tonight. And then, and then I go to the next person. There was another guy, he's holding his phone. I pay attention to everything. And he had this scar on his hand. So his hand was kind of deformed. But he was holding the phone, his finger was kind of like, I was like, that's an interesting scar. Started playing all the scenarios in my head of how he got this scar. Was he protecting his family? Was he like really angry one day and punched through a window?
That's so
was
lit.
it worth it? I wonder who stitched it up for him. That's a cool scar.
As much as psychotic as that is, I do the exact same thing. I like giving people backstories. Like you look at someone thinking, okay, cool, what did you do today? He's like creating a whole storyline of their day, what they did.
But then you get the people that aren't interested at all, like the typical Londoner that didn't answer any of the questions. Like I'm not going to spend time thinking about why you're miserable. You know?
But sometimes it might be the most interesting people, because there's nothing like visible to tell. That's fine. I think sometimes making up backstories is better than knowing the truth as well.
You know, this goes back to the way this is amazing. You know, this is how this podcast comes full circle. Because at the beginning of the podcast, you said that how Kayla loves doesn't have any problems with sharing things on parents or whatever. And that is psychotic as fuck. But the reason
I don't think so.
Why are you using the word psychotic? I think none of it's psychotic.
Because the word for psychotic is funny. But the reason, but the fact that you said it means that I'm now, because I don't. You think I was the person that we sharing this kind of stuff with before? But it wasn't until you said it that, you know what, it's psychotic, but I do the same thing.
What else are you supposed to do on the tube?
Not give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Do Spanish lessons. I do that. I do a bunch of Spanish lessons. I don't have time to look up, but I do that.
You do.
And that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from. So that guy's scar on his hand is probably going to pop up somewhere.
That's interesting. So you're just taking in the surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. London, to me, for some reason, do you know what it is? I've realized this thing of like, I've said this on the last episode as well. Like, I love diversity, and I feel like London's one of the only places I've been to in the world. Not the only place, one of the only places, because I think obviously there's other parts of like states and whatever, but which is like probably one of the most diverse places, and I just appreciate diversity a lot. So anytime I go on holidays, like it don't matter how good it is, like 3-4 days in, I get really like homesick, and I'm gonna go back to London. And I'm like, for example, when I came back last time, it's just like I was just so happy to be back to London.
Wow.
Which is like, I find that really like bizarre. Like, that's very different to like most people.
It must be a nice feeling. Yeah. I can't relate.
And also, do you know what else as well? Like, and this is obviously my experience, and everyone's different, like I said. But for me as well, like I don't feel like I need to find anything or like I'm missing anything. Like I'm good where I'm at. Like it's not like I need to go to another. Like I'm not firing shots at no one else Just I don't need to go to another country to have a holiday or to do something else or to go meet certain people in another part of the country. Don't get me wrong, it's great when I do so. It's amazing, but I don't need to. I'm not searching for anything somewhere else. Like I've got everything I need.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. I'm glad.
Yeah. I know for some people that's not the case, and yeah.
I mean, I'm always searching for something new, you know, something different. So, I can't say I don't really get homesick because I don't know where home is. I think home is wherever. What do they say?
Home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
So technically, you're home already.
Yeah. So wherever I go, could be home. I don't associate London with home, and I've been saying this for years now. Like I just don't. Like I don't feel it. I don't see my potential future being like bringing up a family and stuff.
Yeah. So you'd probably like live in another country in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Portugal.
I don't know where.
Lisbon.
No. I think that was the first new place I've been to in like 4 years. So it was like incredible. It was like amazing, best place ever. But I don't know. I don't know where it could be. It could be anywhere. I just don't feel like this is it.
Yeah. Have you got any poems you want to share? This wasn't part of the plan, by the way, but you might have some. I don't know.
I have some.
No, you want to share, you don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, not off the top of my head, but I have some on my device.
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay.
Cheers.
On your device, as in like your phone. Oh. I was about to back out a whole laptop.
Feel like a think pad or something like that.
That's what I thought I was about to back out a Mac.
Like a digital notebook or something.
Do you know what's funny actually? I've known you for a while, but I've only heard you like share a poem once.
The cat poem.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, that was a great process of writing that.
Yeah.
Like I have OCD. I'm sure of it. That's not me trying to like self-diagnose myself. It's just being aware of like how I am. I get obsessed with things very easily. Like Portugal.
But is that OCD though? Like being obsessed about it?
I don't know. Like
it could just be obsessive.
It's. I don't know. I get really like into it, and then all of a sudden, I could just like it could just.
To me, it sounds like you just. To me, it sounds like you just want new experiences. So like once the experience becomes familiar, it's like you want to.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But yeah, get it so in my head, and this cat poem was like a thought. Oh, I think I googled like the word cat, like the definition of cat. I mean, we all know what a cat is, but it just took me down a rabbit hole.
It was and they were like these like really like royal like creatures in like Egypt. Yeah. I remember you telling a story. I've learned something new that day as well.
So that was a great process. I should probably read the cat poem now that I've mentioned it, but I don't know where it is. So
that was a while ago as well.
Yeah, but I'll read something that so obviously I spoke a bit about travel and how when I write, when I travel, that's kind of where I write some of my best stuff.
Yeah.
Not at the time, when I get home.
Yeah, afterwards.
So if I get excited to come home, it's because I know that there might be a process.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh yeah, back in London.
You're already premeditating it kind of thing.
But yeah, I'm just going to read this because it's fitting, considering I just was talking about travelling. I wrote this when I got back from Lisbon. And it was based on me going by myself. I went alone. I was supposed to go with a friend, but then I decided to go alone because that's what my soul needed.
That was definitely like a whole story behind it, but we won't get into that.
So yeah, I was out and about by myself, and ended up being a very interesting time. So it's called Ode to Lisboa, which is a questionable title, but we can review that. A chance encounter could part a dead sea. Exhaling the silence of night, I hand him my elbow. We samba around Our Lady of Fatima on a hill above the capital. She's lit in a holy box, which despite the rain is unstained. Each street below full of secrets more brilliant than the sun. With every corner, a light myth guides us upward. Urban squares across the city are a warm ebb, bodies en masse careen beneath a laughing moon. To love is a complex for the few who understand, a memory hung like a pigeon's neck from a dead tree.
Hey, Aladdin, pattern up, man.
It's alright.
I'm sorry, Chelsea just scored a penalty and I'm very upset.
So yeah.
Like a pigeon's head from a tree.
Like a pigeon's neck.
Like a pigeon's neck.
Yeah.
A pattern up, man.
Pattern up, man.
So what? Let me.
You're gonna ask me, what did I take in?
What is? How did it make you feel? Or what does it mean to you?
I feel like it put me in a deep thinking state. So like I feel like I was a little bit more like in tune with trying to understand how I connect to it. But I feel like there was a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And while I'm trying to listen and unpack one thing, it's like the next thing's coming.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I didn't get to think about that. And I'm focusing on the next thing.
And that's fine.
Yeah. So I feel like what I've learned from listening to that was beautiful, by the way. I'm not just saying that. It was really was. But I feel like what I learned from that is that I need to take it in. Like I need to hear it a few times.
Yeah.
To unpack it.
Yeah, it's the same
fully.
with me as well. So like, if my friend reads me a poem, I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice. What did you like about it? And I need to see it on paper, and I need you to read it again.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to read it myself.
Like I would need to hear it like another like 3 to 5 times.
Yeah.
To fully like.
And that's the process. So yeah.
But that's why we've got cameras and phones nowadays.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to listen to this again like 5 times on my own time and be like, okay, this is what I'm taking from it fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was based on one moment. So I don't want to explain it too much because it might.
No, but he was talking about there was lines around that there was new streets or something along the lines of new streets that was more amazing than the sun.
More beautiful.
Or more beautiful.
I don't even remember.
I can't remember. Yeah, but it was I know your poem's better than you.
Yeah, I mean,
shame.
I'm not. It takes me a long time to be able to remember things. More brilliant than the sun.
Oh,
Each
more brilliant than the
street below
sun.
full
Yeah.
of secrets, more brilliant than the sun. But I stole that brilliant from the sun.
Is it?
But it's fine to steal. Sometimes you have to write a disclaimer. No, I didn't steal it.
That's the title. It's okay to steal.
It's fine to steal.
That's
like
okay.
That was so funny. She's like, yeah, I stole it, but it's fine to steal. It's all good.
Title.
Yo, can you give me your wallet right now? I heard it's fine to steal.
No. If I give it to you, it's different. I need you to take it off me without my permission.
It's about using things that can. Everything is.
Say it, because I know what you're gonna say.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, everything is borrowed.
Yeah, I knew I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I was gonna say everything comes from somewhere, and that's the thing that we say. It's like, people talk about, let's say like you took a term from someone and you go like, yeah, like all the credit goes to that person and whatever, but that person's taking it from somewhere. So at the end of the day, it's just like there's this infinite of inspirations that happen in the world, where everyone's got something from someone. That's how we learn. We learn from other people, and I believe that. If we're inspired by the world, we should allow the world to be inspired by us as well. Right. So people should be able to be like, take it. You're not stealing it. You're taking like it's you're inspired.
Yeah.
So instead of saying you stole it, you got inspired.
I was inspired.
And now you're inspiring other people with it. Yeah, that's how it goes. Cool. Is there anything you want to promote? This is where we're gonna start. Wrapping up.
I don't. I mean, just be nice to each other and maybe smile at a stranger on the street. Might make their day. I mean, that sounds really like cheesy. It's true, man. In terms of promotion, like promoting my own stuff, I don't. You can follow me on Instagram, but you won't find much. You won't.
But you don't have like a poetry Insta.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I don't have because I don't know how I feel about it. I think when you share, it changes the thing. For me, anyway.
I get that.
And I haven't quite figured it out yet. So, yeah.
What changes though? Like just out of curiosity.
So when I write a poem and I put it online, it's automatically, well, number one, it's like digitalized. Sometimes I just like to keep it in a notebook and let it live there, or live on the stage, like performing. I think.
What if it wants to live out there? Do you ever ask the poem and
where it wants to be?
Yeah.
No, I never. But I might try. But
it'd be interesting. It's like, where do you think this poem wants to be?
Yeah. And I think once I did a reading in my local bar, and there was these guys, and they were like, "Yeah, that was great, but you need to make a TikTok if you wanna get anywhere with this." And I was like, "Sorry." He was like, "Yeah, you gotta get online, man. You gotta make videos, otherwise no one's gonna know who you are." And that just pissed me off. I was like, "Why does that like make me a poet?"
I think you're a poet, anyways. I think it's about. I think what he said. Well, number one, I disagree with them. I think there's different routes in life, anyways. But I think what they're saying is like, it's about using the internet as a tool to connect with people, rather than you need internet to become this thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and I grapple with the thought. But I think it'll be good to do something creative rather than like a film, like a short film or something.
That sounds even better.
Rather than me just being like, "Hey guys, I'm reading a poem today." Like, share. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Kayla Marie Troy. I don't really post a lot, only when I have a new experience. Yeah. So if you want to see the new experiences, then follow me. And if you're a poet, then maybe we can chat. I'm always looking for new poet friends.
Cool. And the question that we ask every single person, you might even know the question. I don't know if you do, probably do. Is when you get a chance to say something to 8 billion people.
7.8.
It's probably 8 by now.
7.9. No, I check it regularly.
Yeah, 7.9. Alright, cool, bro. I'm rounding it up to 8.
You guys argue about this every episode.
You don't argue
exactly.
No, I just changed my question.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm rounding it up, bro. You know what?
Yes,
am I allowed to round it up?
No, but I'm saying when you round up 7.8, you round up by 100.
Listen, bro. Am I allowed to
1 million?
Cool.
No, 100 million. Sorry.
Cool. Am I allowed? Let me ask a question. Am I allowed to round it up?
No.
Alright. Anyway, 8 billion people. What would you tell them?
7.9.
This is another corny one, but this always comes to my mind, and just remember to live. And it might sound simple because but just breathing sometimes is not really like, obviously in scientific terms, you're living, but like to really live. Like, what makes your heart, like, feel weird and like, what makes you nervous, like good nervous. This is what sets your soul on fire. Just keep doing it, man.
What makes excited.
Yeah, like, because we get into habit and we get into routine. And I actually wrote on my whiteboard recently because I just forgot to live for a long period of time, like 6 months, just plodding along, just work, training, blah, 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 trying to write poetry, not doing great. And I just had to write on my thing, don't forget to live. So, yeah.
I get that.
Even if that means just going somewhere that you would never usually go, or something that you've always been curious about, but you never thought, oh, maybe today you want to write a poem.
Mm.
If you do, drop it over. We can have a chat about it. And yeah, just don't forget to live.
Yeah, I like that. Cool. On that note,
thanks for having me, guys.
Nothing but gratitude.
I appreciate you both.
And I'm happy you're here as well. Yeah.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, initially it was like, yeah, why didn't you come?
That went really quick.
Yeah, time flies by.
I don't understand how people say that, man.
That went really quick.
I reckon.
Yeah, it goes quick. Does it not go quick for you?
No.
Yeah, I think you're the only one.
Yeah, but...
And I guess Man U scored as well.
Yeah, did.
Yeah. I saw him, I even like this for a second.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was a tight one. Anyway.
Did he win?
No, oh no.